Hello and welcome back to the Calculator Review, hosted on caliquin.com. Today, I have a Facebook review that I've yet to do on video, so here we go. And as you can see, this is a Casio fx-300ES Plus with natural VPAM. So what that VPAM stands for is Visually Perfect Algebraic Method. So, before I get started, I just want to point out that this is a two-way powered calculator. So right now there is no battery inside of it, so if I cover up the solar thing, and let me get this out of the the ring light that I have set up here. Oops. Okay, there we go. So yeah, as long as it's got light, it'll run, but since it's kind of a pain to use it without the battery, I'm going to put the battery into it. See, I just barely covered it up and that cleared the display. So fortunately, Casio did the nice thing and made the battery easily accessible. It's just a single screw that holds it in. It is kind of annoying that they used a screw, but it's still better than some of the previous calculators I've reviewed. Set that aside. Throw in, I believe this is, what is this? I think this is an LR130 or 20. It's LR44, I'm sorry. So let's get this battery in, and then we don't have to worry about needing solar power every moment. The solar power will just serve as a helpful thing. So before I get into the functionality of the calculator, I just want to point out that this is one of the most solidly built, I don't know if I want to call this a scientific calculator, but it's one of the most solidly built calculators I have. It's got this really sturdy cover. The device itself is very, very strong. Here I am just giving this a bit of a bend, and it has no give at all. A little bit, but nothing that feels like it would snap easily. This is an excellent pocket calculator because of its size. This will easily fit into a pocket, and you don't have to worry about accidental calculations. So, turning it on. So, earlier I said that this is a visually perfect algebraic method, and let me show you what that means. So let's say I want to do 3 divided by 98. Now, a normal calculator would show this answer in decimal, but this shows it in a fraction. So the idea behind this is supposed to be useful for math exams. In fact, this is a common calculator used for an SAT or other nonsense kind of test. But I really like that it actually does fractions, except for, of course, when it doesn't need them. You can switch to decimal mode somehow. I don't remember how. But whatever, it's got decimal, or it's got fractions. That's really cool. So let's check out our 2 times the square root of, so this would be 2 times, will actually be the square root of 2 times square root of 2. That'd be, no, that's not quite right. So yeah, this would take a little bit of getting used to, because I'm not entirely sure how to have this 2 times 2. Here we go. Square root of 2 squared. Neat, right? But yeah, I really like the display on this. It actually shows you the equation as it would be written, and that's the whole idea of this natural thing. So you would actually input things the way you would write them, just and then you'd be able to see exactly how you need to write it on your exam. I just think that's really cool. So you can throw in all kinds of the cosine to 65 to the power of 36, and I'm sure that's going to throw errors because, yeah. That was just a bunch of nonsense, but let's say 68 to the power of 36. You get this huge number, and it shows you exactly how you would write it too. So a lot of times you'll just see like an E here, and it would be E65, but here it actually shows times 10 to the 65th, which is the way you would typically write it. So I find that really cool. You can also switch over to alpha mode and actually have your own variables and stuff. This doesn't have any programming in it, so it's not quite a graphing calculator. It's kind of its own class. And that's why I didn't really want to call it a scientific calculator, because this is somewhere in between just your standard algebraic calculator and a graphing calculator. I guess this is probably the best way to put it. But yeah, this is actually a really, really nice calculator. And I love the fact that it actually does the two-way power really well. This thing will run just fine without a battery in it, as long as it's got a light source. The only problem is if you lose that light source even for a moment, then you lose all of the work you've been doing. So it is nice to know that if the calculator were to run out of battery, you would still be able to use it just as long as you had light. So yeah, this came out in 2012, and it's part of the FX line. I do have other calculators in the Casio FX line, and they're all pretty outstanding. Forget where exactly I got this one, but it's a really good calculator. I highly recommend it, even though it's not particularly vintage. I really like the colors, of course. I forgot to mention that. It's got a really nice color scheme. It doesn't try to be too flashy with anything, yet it still is fairly colorful. I think that's kind of nice. So yeah, I would recommend this calculator. It's good. Have a great weekend, and thank you for watching.